Thank you so much for being a part of this. If you're watching this from YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and share this because you are going to enjoy this video. Welcome to one of the best episodes. All of our episodes are 10 stars. And this story behind the scene episode is with a very hardworking, inspiring, innovative woman. I think that is one of the most unique things about Miss Ejiro, and we are having her join us. We're having her join us this morning for the conversation. So she will join in shortly, and then we'll read her bio. I want to read her bio while she's here, and then we get right into today's conversation. One of the things that inspired the story behind the scene conversation is to help people who want to move from where they are to where they ought to be, which is what we even do at NEL City, to get the stories, to get the building bricks that are otherwise not put out as obviously as many, or as like the glam lives. You know, we have a lot of glam life put out there easily and even quickly as well. So the story behind the scene is to hear about the not so glam life put out there so that we can, okay, she's here, all right, so that we can learn about how these people move from where they are to where they ought to be. So excited. Okay, let's get the profile ready. Good morning, Sister Ejiro.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I think you're coming. I'm fine. Thank you so much for choosing to be here despite your busy schedule. I don't take it at all for granted. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay, all right. So let me get to reading just a brief part of. So I'm calling her Miss Ejiro through this live, although I call her Sister Ejiro personally. Ejiro Amos-Tafiri is a multi-award winning, locally trained fashion designer. She's the CEO and founder of the indigenous fashion design, retail, and educational company, Ejiro Amos-Tafiri, known for its line of Afro-cosmopolitan, luxurious, ready-to-wear pieces. Ejiro's company prides itself on its innovative design, sustainably crafted using the locally sourced indigenous fabrics engineered by artisans, and attention to detail and quality. He has built a Pan-African A-list fashion brand with a growing cult following across the continent, having shown her work multiple times in over 10 foreign countries. Her unique superpower is drapery, earning her the title of Nigeria's Drape Queen. She and her brand have been featured on CNN, Al Jazeera, Marie Claire magazine, and she's a recipient of the African Designer of the Year Award, Afro UK Online and Runway Tribe, honorary award for empowering women in fashion industry by the African Fashion Development and Empowerment Center at the African Fashion Summit in 2019. She's the icon of hope at the African Design and Fashion Week 2018, Achiever Alumni Award by Rector Yaba College of Technology, Designer of the Year, and City People Fashion and Beauty Awards, to mention a few. Like we said, Ejiro is the. Oh my God. So I will just summarize it by saying Ejiro is passionate about the proper education of the upcoming fashion professionals in Nigeria. She's the alumni of the U.S. Consulate Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, Claire Blair Foundation Road to Growth, and regional winner for the federal government youth enterprise with innovation grants in October 2019. Okay, thank you so much again, Miss Ejiro, for choosing to be here. Okay, I think you are frozen.
Really?
Yes, it seems.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can you
Oh,
hear
okay.
me?
I think you're. Yes, I can hear you now. I
Perfect.
can hear you now. I think it's just maybe it's just freezing a bit from your side, but I think we can go with it because I'm not even sure. Even if we have to say maybe you should try to change your location, I'm not sure you may
No, I
have
can
any
change
of.
the.
Okay, you can change where you are. Okay, that's what okay. So please, could you do that, Miss Ejiro? It may help because because your your life is freezing. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yes, I think it's just better that she lives. All right. So if Miss Ejiro can hear me, I think you need to change your location because your life is freezing. I think that is what needs to happen. Yes, okay. Pokey Wealth Official says not moving. Yes, thank you so much for joining this conversation. Pokey Wealth Official wrote Latina. Thank you so much. Yes, I thought as much. And if it was from my network, I would know. So I think she'll just change her location. I won't continue.
I'm back.
Okay,
Can you hear
you're
me?
back. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay,
Even
great.
listeners were saying you were not moving. Your video was
Oh,
paused, but I think it's better now.
is it better now? Can you see me? I'm moving,
Yes.
waving.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay,
All
good.
right. So we have read out your exceptional profile, and we're going to get into the juice of the gist of the story behind your scene. So we would like to know, Miss Ejiro, what was growing up like for you? Did you always know that, oh, I'm just going to become this fashion superstar? It's going to be my dream. This is what I am. This is what I am made for. What was growing up like for you?
Honest truth, nothing like that. I mean, growing up for me was my parents are both paramilitary, so I was raised in a very strict household. I went to boarding house right from when I was 5, because my parents were always being transferred across the country. Um, so I grew up with this thought that I was going to be a medical doctor because I was a very, most of the time at that time in the 80s when you're cerebral and you're like good at your education, your parents just like, okay, a few jobs, let's say jobs now or careers that, is either a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or an accountant if you're good with your business admin and all of that. So mine was medicine because I was good at sciences. I grew up being very inquisitive. I loved sciences, and I honestly thought I was going to be a doctor. But I just also thought that our profession was stiff-necked, and I knew clearly that I didn't necessarily want to be going to a regular office where I clock in and clock out. Yeah,
Mm.
so I did not dream of becoming a designer, but my maternal grandmother was a very popular seamstress in the axis of our village. Like, so maybe 30 villages around, she was the most popular and the best. And she would have apprenticed for days. So at one point, she had up to 30, and they were all living with her, my mom and her siblings. Yeah, so by the time she had diabetes and came to live with us in Lagos, I was in nursery school. My step putting me through dress making. And it was very annoying. I was little and she didn't understand, or I don't know, maybe I was a botia in her own opinion. So she would make us thread needle, and I wasn't good at it. So I always got knocked on the head or, spanked or whatever. So in primary school, I found out that I loved doing stuff in my hands as much as I loved my sciences. And that carried on to secondary school. So it was in SS1 when I was looking for some fun. I was a science student going on to become a doctor or a veterinary doctor. when I said, you know what, this is all stiff neck and I'm going to look for some fun. You know, I can't be having physics, chemistry, and biology and then Greek and all of that and then just have to keep pouring into my books. I want to do something for fun. So I switched from Greek to clothing and textile and I found my future. I found fashion and that's how I'm here today.
Okay, so what was your, so I think it will be the continuation of the question. What was teenage life like for you personally, and even just fashion wise and personally? Were you the rebellious child? Were you the calm child? We would like to know that part of you. What your teenage life was like for you?
Well, I was raised Catholic, so teenage years, and I was in the boarding house. I went to Queen's College. So, and I am only girl. I had three brothers. So, being raised Catholic and constantly, you're told keep your virtue, do behave well. You don't want to sin and have to give a confession. So I think I was morally sound. I tried my best to be a good girl, but I was rebellious in the sense that I didn't like to write my notes, even in boarding house. I kept my nails. I've always had long nails since I was like 13. I grew out my hair so long that my teachers thought I was always putting extension. So I always got punished on assembly for weird things like long hair, long nails. Oh, you've put extension and they'll have me losing my hair to figure out that, okay, it's just my hair. And then my nails, I'll constantly hide them. And when they find me out, they'll have me cut them off. So yeah, things like that. And then I'll bail from school to go buy behind Queen's College was this place, and it's still there where we used to go buy shawarma and then grilled turkey. So those were my vices. But I was very much a tomboy, very much a tomboy. I wanted to do everything my brothers did, and I didn't believe that women were different from men. I believe that everything a man could do or was allowed to do, I should be allowed to do and be allowed to carry on like that. So I wore mostly boys' clothes. And my mom too was a bit of a tomboy too. I mean, she was paramilitary, so her uniform was already trousers and khaki and all of that. So we wore a lot of sneakers and boots and like combat dressing. So growing up was fun. I climbed trees. I played table soccer. I did everything boys did. I went to the farm. I farmed a lot. My mom loves farming, and yeah, so those are the things I did growing up. It was fun. I rebelled a bit, but I tried my very best to stay out of sin.
Your childhood looks very interesting. Thank you for sharing with us. Okay, I would like you to
Yeah.
please take us through the journey of when you discovered in your senior year clothing and textile. That journey, what was the very beginning from what you can remember? What did you start to do? Were you doing small pieces and selling it to your classmates, or what was that initial journey like for you?
It was a revelation, and I've constantly said I felt, you know how you feel when you receive Jesus for the first time, when you get born again or you get baptized. That feeling of, oh my goodness, this is my future, this is my life. So I had that aha moment on the very first day I joined the clothing and textile class and went to Yabatek on an exhibition. And so I just drank it all in. Oh, okay, so this could encapsulate my maths, um, engineering, sciences, research, and arts. And it could be fun. Like, having all of these things that you love doesn't have to be stiff-necked. I can have fun while working. So I very much looked forward to become a designer. I went back to school and poured myself into this subject called clothing and textile. And nobody could beat me. I was the best at that thing. And from then on, I never gave anybody a birthday card or whatever that I bought. I made them all through secondary school. Every gift anybody got from me was made. So I made frames. Me expressing myself now, I will make frames and give to my classmates. I made cards for them. I made clothes for myself. Yeah. So that was and I think that was the end of me bothering my parents to buy me clothes. I started making stuff. And so even my jeans, I started, cutting them into pieces, changing them around, putting all the old jeans in the house together, my brothers, everybody's own, and making new clothes out of them. It just became a fun way for me to just really see how far I could think. And I started drinking up fashion books and going to libraries. It was weird, right? I never went to libraries for my sciences, but I went to libraries for fashion to read history of costume, history of Nigerian dress, how we dressed from the before colonialism, during and after, what influenced our different cultures. I just started drinking up stuff, and all the libraries in Yaba, I clocked into all of them. Thankfully, I got admitted into Yaba Tech after all my hula baloo, just really frustrating my parents and making sure I didn't get into med school, Unilag, and begging them to buy me jam form and, still rigmaroling and kind of finding a way to go around the system with my science results to get into art school, which was a full art course. I got accepted, and it just proved to me that, God was leading me in the direction I should go with my life. And when I got into fashion school, I gave it my all. It was difficult. I was bullied because I was an overdue, not too much. A girl, I was coming from Queen's College, I was a scientist. So if you ask me one question, I'll answer 10 times. And that used to upset my class. So that Ejiro pushed us and make us go extra. So expensive. Being in art school is expensive. Not only abroad, in Nigeria too. You want to do great assignments. You want to produce great work. I didn't see my assignments as just assignments. I saw them as experiments. I wanted to see what was possible. So all the materials we asked to get, I wanted everything. I paid for everything, and because my parents couldn't provide to that extent, to the extent of which I wanted, to the extent of the materials which I wanted to use from all my experiments, I made sure I started working right from my first year and making money throughout to support whatever my parents were able to give me. And yeah, that's how I was able to get through art school. And thankfully, I started doing that on time, because by the time I was in HND1, my dad had stroke, and that was tough on the whole family. My mom had to provide for everybody, and she was just a civil servant. So, and my education was very expensive, because if my school fees was like maybe altogether 100K plus accommodation, I don't remember how much it was, I would spend 100K a week on assignments, because Adriel's assignments had to be the best. It was ridiculous. I pushed my whole class. And then eventually we bonded, and we became like the set till tomorrow. I mean, it's been about 15 years. We're still the set to beat that ever left fashion department, Yabatek. Because for me, I didn't see it as just making clothes. I didn't want to be referred to as a never do well. This was my one shot at fashion. My parents could not afford to send me to school abroad, and I was going to take it with all my heart, with all my soul, and just do the best I could do and let go. And so let God do his remaining work and help me succeed. Yeah, so that's what it was like, finding fashion and becoming a fashion designer. I started losing my boyish ways a bit. That took time, but I'm here, fabulous and all. Yeah.
Like, I'm so excited. This story is literally refreshing my soul, and I cannot wait to get into other layers. Okay, so you spoke about working from your, maybe what we would generally term 100 level, your first year in fashion school. Practically, Miss Ejiro, how was that like? Because you have assignments, you have school, then you have to work with whoever the person it is that we're working with. If you want to share with us, how were you able to balance that? Because there are some people at that space now, and so things I wanted to comment on, but any small thing in our generation now, people are already saying, oh, well, I'm tired, my mental health, something's up this. So I would like you to know, please, I think in this
You all
generation,
are
we need
lucky. You all are lucky. You even have your mental health. Well, for me, right? I told
Exactly.
myself one thing. I'm very,
Yes.
I was very grateful to my parents for the kind of schools that they sent me to. So imagine that my primary school, our junior school, owned by Tai Sholari, who always tell you, may your way be rough, so that things you want in life will come. It's like the road to success is not paved with milk and honey. It's not paved with enjoyment and relaxation. That it's in following that rough path. So even so, the Bible says, in the narrow path that you find salvation, it's following that rough path that you get to what you want. Like, so if you know one suffer, that means you're never ready to get success, so to speak. So getting into school and realizing that, nobody made me do all these things. I could have stayed average. I didn't have to go to 5 libraries to answer one assignment. I could have done the minimum or the average, the expected. But I was doing this for myself. It was my future. And I knew that if I couldn't go abroad, then I give it my best shot from right here, right? So even just studying, I had to do them and make sure that every assignment I was doing. And remember, I'm a science student coming to art. Everybody in my class was from the arts. So I hadn't been drawing as much as they had been drawing. I didn't have art. They changed the requirements for me to join the art school because I wanted to do fashion. So they now changed it from arts to arts and clothing and textile. It was not on the list like that before, prior to me joining that school. So everybody that went to that school up until I did, and even with my set, had to have been an art student in secondary school. So when you totally get that and know that, okay, I was here against all odds, then it was on me to make sure that whatever success I want, and my parents at this point were still doing all that they could so that they were letting me get out of my system. So their hope was that I would go to medical school. And then if it was 2 years, I had 1 year, I had to do the best I could, right?
Yep. Miss Ejiro, can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me? Sorry, a call keeps trying to come in, but I'm cutting it. So just give me that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it will stay out. Yes, I keep taking care of it. So just let's flow. So
Okay.
it was to get a proper job during school term, but every holiday I worked right from my very first internship. Once I found that the first fashion company would take me as a staff, I never spent another holiday at home. So my first internship was with Ricardo, and she became my lifelong mentor. Yes. So I had shadowed her, watched her on TV, and then I applied. She took me, and I did not take it for granted. I even literally left home and moved close. Like the office was on Zumba, by the way. So I moved to 1004 to my family friend's house who lived in 1000 because I did not want to have excuses. Oh no, I moved to Chevron, my aunt's place in Chevron. So on her way to work, she would drop me off. And I lived in a cartoon, so I knew that if I was coming from a cartoon, it wasn't possible. I wouldn't make it to work. And this was just 3 months internship. So I don't understand when people have too many excuses about what's happening with them. It's not like life was easy for me. At this point, my parents were not. My dad had stroke. My both parents were civil servants. We all went to university, so to speak. I went to Polytechnic, and my brothers went to university, and we're all in school at the same time, right? So it was hard enough. I knew what was going on at home. My mom was in university, my dad was in university at the same time. All of us went to university at the same time in my family. So there was no extra. You got your school fees, and that was that. So working was what I did in the night. So let me tell you how I did it. I finished classes about 2 or 3. And then if I had a client to go see, so I worked on my own, or I took jobs from designers and went to school to do it, and I went back to deliver it when at weekends or in the evenings. So if I finished classes by 3 and I had a meeting outside school, I'll go and I'll be back to school about 7. I will prioritize my assignments, get that done. Because we're students, we lived in our classrooms. I had a room hostel, but I was always in the studio. So I would prioritize my assignment, do that first, and maybe about 1 or thereabout to be done with whatever assignment I was doing. And then we'll take a nap and have somebody wake me up, maybe one of my friends wake me up around 2 or 3. And I would do my ije, we called it ije. Whatever work you got from outside to make money, I'll do that from 2 to 5. Then I'll go for morning mass. Then I'll rush back, take a bath, change, come back to class for class the next day. So I usually had like 2-3 hours sleep a day. But I was young, my body could take it, so I did it, and it helped me. That's how I coped.
Okay, I think you've been able to answer that balanced question. You spoke about internship, and because I've heard your story before, I know that you've worked with quite prominent people in the industry. Please, could you tell us how you were able to get your first internship practically? I'm sure your days was not the days of sliding into DMs. So what did you do?
No.
Did you go for fashion fairs? Or like now it's easier. I can just slide into them. Hey, Miss Ejiro, can I come and work for you? How did you pursue and even get the attention of these people or any other person that you had to work with through your school years?
So I always armed myself with my results. Thankfully, I was a good student. So I always had the photocopy of my results I had an introduction letter always with me. So what did I do? I scouted for the offices where I wanted to work and literally went to the address to submit a letter of introduction alongside my school results. And most of it, for the beginning, I was underage, and also an attestation and consent letter from my parents. So if I already did all of that, I understood the ethics of getting a job and how you present yourself at a job. So that helped me get in the door real quick. I never had to wait for long. It was only one place that I was rejected, and that's fine. I mean, just means it wasn't meant to be. Yeah. So
Wow.
I
Okay.
literally physically walked up to the office and asked to drop my letter. And as a sharp girl, you go when you study the place, you maybe study and study and study and so don't just drop it, have extra. If you don't get a response in 1 week, you come back and you sit outside with the security guard and gist and shadow when madam comes, and that's when you go to the office, because then she's in the reception and she cannot say no. At least you get a no directly. So that's what I did. I had to be. You
Yeah.
had to be intentional, and it helped.
Okay. Mr. In everything that you've shared, one of the core things that is unspoken but is very key that is about you is your confidence. Where would you say you got that from? And I mean your confidence in saying, hey, I cannot go to school abroad, I must make it here. If you like, think I'm doing over sabi or whatnot. How did you get that confidence? Was it something that just came with the moment of you knowing that I have to, this is my path, or was it something that was built over time?
I think it's something that was built over time, and I have my parents to thank for that. Number one is with the choice of schools I went to. So if you went to a school like Mayflower where you're constantly taught to be self-reliant, we went to the farm in primary school, we picked pepper, we planted pepper, we washed our dinner. Sometimes we'll pick beans, sometimes we help in the kitchen, and we were primary school children. So if I went to that kind of primary school, it it goes without saying. Then I went to a school like Queen's College where we're constantly told, oh, you're queens, hold your head up high, you're cerebrally equal to men, you're not less. And so I got into the world with the notion that, I'm just a human being put here on God's good earth to do my own part. And so, yes, I was shy growing up, and I always masked that by boning. When you just frown and you're walking. Yeah. And that was also like my keep away, I'm seriously pursuing my career and pursuing my life. Don't come and mess up. I didn't want to be swayed by peer pressure. So it's about knowing, for me, I had to study my environment, study people, knew my strength, knew that, if they got to me, maybe I'll be weak. So I put on a mask, just try to keep to myself and prioritize what was important to me. And I tried to speak up for myself. And all that grew over time. But it comes from knowing who you are, even just being also a child of God and knowing who you are in Christ and know that, made in his image and likeness, and I'm perfection. If he says I'm good, then I'm good. And nobody's going to tell me who I am. Not like I wasn't talked that. I was bullied. I was bullied in class. I was bullied in QC by rich girls. I was bullied in second uni Yabatech by everyone was older than me. The closest to my age was like 5 years in my class. So I was the baby of the class, and they always made fun of how I talked. Oh, my daddy this, my mommy this, my daddy this, my mommy this. And so it was tough. But in knowing that I'm cerebrally right, I'm meant to be here. This is my path shown me by God. Not so you're not going to take away my opportunity. And it's being comfortable in who you are. Your parents don't have to own the whole world. It's like you're hoping for something and that's not your reality. You're just going to mess up your life. You need to just get with the program, know who you are, know what's going on with you, and then know where you want to go, and then plot the graph and be willing to do the work. So that's it. Then my dad also raised me to be a strong woman. I don't give him enough credit. My dad constantly allowed me do everything I wanted to do that the boys were doing. You want to climb trees? Go ahead. You want to join the parade lineup? Go ahead. You want to do whatever? Go ahead. Even when I bought my first brand new car, my mom was so worried. I'm like, oh, I want to even buy a Jeep at the time. My mom was so worried. Hey, you won't get married. My dad's like, please. What's the meaning of that? Did you work for it? Did you earn it? Go ahead and do what you want. When I wanted to move out, my brothers were still at home. My mom was so worried. Oh, Bullshit. My dad is like, did she earn it? Does she have the money to pay for her part? she wants to go on with her life, do it. So I think my dad, never shutting me down, never telling me you're a girl. He did it a few times, as traditional Nigerian parents. So go cook, go this, and I'm like, I can't be cooking every day. This is not my my calling. I can cook, I can do all of that, but please, I want to go build my company. And my dad understood, and I went. I went on, and I told him, you always see me in church. I always try to do right by you. I'll try to make sure that you're not going to hold your head in your arms, in your hands, in shame over me. And so that even pushed me. The fact that it gave me that freedom. My dad allowed me go. Funny story, right? When I was working at the Decado, my very first internship, we had a show on Valentine's Day, and it was a club, and I was 17. So at 17, you're not supposed to go to the club. But I told my dad that I wanted to go do my work, and it was clubbing, and even the collection we did was risque. Like, it was lingerie with bomb boobs, everything. She knows the kind of back in the day. She was such a risque designer, and I loved it. The good thing is I told my dad, and even though he found it difficult to chew, he accepted. He drove me to work, told my boss that, oh, you know what, she's underage, so I'm putting her in your care. And after, he was waiting for me outside the club at 5 a.m. to take me home. So he allowed me become me, even though it was hard for them to chew. They really wanted me to be a doctor. It was very difficult, but my parents really did their own part in shaping the person I am today. I must give them that credit. And my dad, because he could have told me, you're a woman, sit down here. You're a woman, behave like this, tie your part of that. Yeah, so my dad, yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ejiro. Before we go on to the other part of the question, I wanted to request if you could please change your location, possibly.
Oh, wow.
Because
Where will
while
I
you
go
were
to?
talking, it kept pausing. It kept pausing. I don't know
I
why,
don't
but
know
I'm
what to
thinking
do with my
before
girl.
you change if you change your location, it may help.
Okay, let me go to another office. Let's see if that would help.
Okay, you can. Okay, well, I would say you can feel free to switch up your video if you like before you get there.
No, I'm good.
Depends on you.
I'm
Okay,
in the
yeah, good.
office. It's fine.
All right, thank you so much. It says
Can you
I
not
was.
get Is this better?
So I. Hmm.
No.
Yes,
Okay, so we're
this
going to go
looks
downstairs to the garden. Please, can I have chair in the garden?
okay. Okay. Oh, I think that may even better. Like network will come from everywhere outside. So yes.
Second phone.
Thank you so much
Second
for
phone as well.
joining in. You can send in your questions using the question icon. Any question you have for Ms. Ejiro, just send it using the question icon. It's important to use the question icon because if you put it on the comments, it can just get swept away. Yes, we can hear her. It's the scene that we're
Is it
talking
better
about.
now?
We just need her to. Okay, are you in it?
I'm outside
Okay, I
now.
think it will
Can you
be.
turn on this AC?
Yeah, I think it will
No,
be
sit
much
here.
better outside.
Is it better? Can you turn off this AC?
Yes. Okay. All right. You could also share your comments if you are watching on how the video is now. But it's better from my own side. It's better from my own side. I'll just go ahead with the questions. If you're just joining in, welcome. Please send in your questions using the question icon. We already have questions there. So I will just go ahead with the conversation. All right, Ms. Ejiro, please tell us how you started the brand. What year you started? What was the birthing of you starting it? At what point did you say, okay, I'm going to start, or it is time to start? Was it from school days? Was it after you graduated? And what inspired the kind of work that you were going to do? Because you are exceptionally different, and I will come to that as I ask follow-up questions. But what did you say you were going to do when you're going to start your brand? Did you make a maybe vow to yourself to say, oh, when I'm starting, these are the things I'm not going to do, these are the things I'm going to do, and everything in between? So just the story of how you started.
Okay. So for me, necessity was the mother of creation. Not like I went out looking at the brand. My trajectory, I hoped, was to start working in Nigeria, eventually go on to work in a fashion company abroad, and maybe after 15 years in the industry, as was the norm, with people starting companies, you'd have worked, gotten experience, then I'll come back to Nigeria or be anywhere in the world and start my own fashion brand. But life did not go
Mm.
that way. So I started working in the industry, and I grew really quickly. Like up, I got to the highest level possible working in a fashion brand within like 3 years. So my first job, within a year, I became creative director, and I used to finish my work at 4. And I'm like, this is not my dream for myself at this time. Like, so I had too much time on my hands. Imagine how that doesn't make sense, right? But to me, I just felt I had too much time on my hands. And with my youth, if I really wanted to learn as much as possible to go on to run my own company, to run my brand, to be an international brand, traveling the world, that I couldn't be finishing everything fashion by 4 in the day,
Mm.
4 p.m. So I quit that because I had somebody had asked me to come back to my former job, not just like internship. I worked at Tinyama before, and now she was looking for a creative assistant. I know how fast-paced in there. So I craved that energy, that pump, that vibe. So then I took that job offer. I quit the other one. And I gave them a decent review. I told them, like, I enjoyed working there. I enjoyed the promotions. I got promoted 3 times within 1 year. I got more money. But you know what? For me, it was about knowledge, and it was about growth, and it was about access to the rest of the world. So I went back to Tiffany Amber. And here, when you wish for something, be careful what you wish for. Now, this, I remember, I worked days and I worked nights, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, working there was tough, but it was great because I worked with people from different parts of the world. I worked with top Nigerian industry professionals. I got to travel to be on different shows and all of that. So with that experience, and then knowing what was possible owning a brand in Nigeria at the time, because I was already head of the creative team, I had done 2 years, my initial content. Sorry about the noise. You guys made me come outside, so we have cars moving around. Uh,
No
so
problem.
at the time the 2 years was up, I just thought, do I necessarily want to continue staying here? Now, other people that were like me, like my classmates from secondary school that went on in the sciences, that were doctors, some of them were working in oil and gas already, and they were already having their first cars. Some of them were paying for their first apartments already. And I was living in the company apartment. We had a driver and I had a boss assigned. So I was living the big girl life, but I knew it
Mm.
wasn't mine, right? I had this lovely apartment in Oniru, and the driver and the boss that would take us to work with the other expatriates. I was classified as I was not an expatriate, but I was on the same level with them because of how well I did at work. And so for me, I just
Mm.
felt this cannot be it. Like, there needs to be more. And I requested for a different assignment, and it just wasn't something that the company was looking into at the time. So I just knew, for my own personal growth, it was time for me to move on. So I did
Mm.
resign, and I moved back to Ikotun, my mom's bedroom. Took permission from her. She wasn't working in Lagos at the time; she was working in the state. So I cleared it out. Excuse me. I set up my first office, and that's how Ejiro Amos-Tafiri was birthed. So it was a function of necessity. But before I resigned, I wrote a full on business plan, and I also did my branding. I got my branding sorted. So I had friends in the art. I went to an art school. So one of my closest friends did the logo. I designed my business card. And my boyfriend at the time was a tech enthusiast. So, got me set up with everything online, opened the Facebook page, Twitter page. There was no Instagram at the time. And,
Mm.
just start pushing my work. So what did I do? I started making samples, and then, went on to do a photo shoot. So everything I did at work on a decently large scale, I did on a very small scale with what I had from my own little corner in the world. But here it was me just starting out. So there was no plan, but I just knew I wanted to make my specialty in fashion school was evening wear, drapery. That's why I discovered that I had a real knack for drapery. And the kind of clothes I like making was occasion wear, evening wear. And those are the ones that I scored the highest at. I struggled with things like corporate, I struggled with things like casuals, but with evening wear, I was always super excited, and I did well with occasion wear. So that's what I knew I was going to do. And I knew that my customers were not going to be in the cotton because I had learned about luxury. I had worked in top upscale brands, and those aligned with the things I thought and things I saw. So I knew that I could work out of a cotton, but not serve. Hi, Uthman, but not serve people in the cotton, so to speak, because they wouldn't understand my designs, my work ethic, my choice of fabrics, my choice of cuts, and all of that. So yeah, I typically worked out of the cotton, but did everything I could to find a way to present myself to the rest of the world. But with ethics, I knew clearly, and I did responsibly not take any contact details from my office. I did not try to reach any of our customers to say, okay, I now make clothes, come order from me and all of that.
Wow.
So I wanted to forge my own way in the world and find my own people. And so I did those pieces, did a photo shoot, printed it out, took it for my reunion, secondary school reunion. I think it was 10 years out of secondary school. I can't remember how many years it was then. I think it was 10. So we had a reunion, and there somebody told us, one of us, Wanu Okoye, had started something called LPM with Isoke. And that was like an exhibition to find new talent. So I went, thankfully the next day was that exhibition was holding. So I went, scoped it out, saw her, told her that, I started the brand and I want to be able to exhibit the next month. She asked me to send in my profile and my work, so pictures of my work. Thank God I had preparedness meets opportunity. So I already had all those things ready. I had logo, I had everything. So I just forwarded everything to her. She approved it, and then I paid for my space. So by the next month, I came prepared to show myself to the world, and that's where everything started up for me. I got my first fashion magazine cover that same month with Omomi Akinifesi, where she had just become the most beautiful girl in Nigeria, and then she was draped in Ejiro Amos-Tafiri, and then I got my name on the front of a paper. Yeah, so from then on, it was up, and up. It was a lot of work, but it was work I prayed for. It was work I longed for, and it was work I enjoyed doing. And this is now 12 years down the line. Yeah, so I basically added other things as I went along. Okay, this I would not do, this I would do. I wanted to be an ethical company, make sure my customers were happy. I didn't want that narrative of tailors are always late. I wanted to do the best I could do, because I believe that the work that you do is your service to God. So if I did my work well, then I was serving God in that light. So yeah, those were other things came along, figuring out, okay, what kind of look, where are you going to stay? But I knew, okay, drapery was my superpower. I wanted it to be Nigerian, African. I wanted to tell my own unique story. And I wanted to do ethical work. I wanted my clothes to last, timeless pieces. I knew that. I didn't want to make clothes that people wear this season and not wear next season. And so I'm thankful that some people still wear clothes from my very first collection, right from when I see people wear them these days. I'm super happy. Or people, even if they don't wear them again, it's in their wardrobe and they don't want to give it out. That was my dream, and I'm happy to be living it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gosh, you say, Jude. I mean, I'm really enjoying this. One of the best interview I've had, because there's just a lot of depth and a lot of impacts that is coming from this conversation. And I thank you. For me, I even see this as a proper mentoring session. We already have 7 questions. Please keep sending in your questions. I'll get to a segment where I'm going to take everybody's question. Just use the question icon, please. One of the things that was outstanding, Miss Ejiro, that you said that is unforgettable is your preparedness meeting opportunity. And we hear it all the time because we're in the generation of motivational quotes, but just seeing it playing out in your own life, you were just already prepared, and your ethics is one that, anyways, this life is going to be saved, is one that is unforgettable. Thank you so much. So I'll get into, how did you move to the part of profiting, making money? Because now you were on your own after being in these luxurious brands where you were making money monthly. At least it was guaranteed. But now it was a part where you were on your own. Maybe there was no guarantee on how you're going to make money monthly. What was that working that hard like for you? Even staff, how did you start out staffing for a upcoming fashion brand? Now, were you outsourcing? What was that like? If you could take us through that, then
True
we'll go
that.
to your
Okay.
next.
So, there was no opportunity to not make money. Remember, I told you that my dad had stroke when I was a student, and
Yes.
that money, that revenue stream, kind of dried up. My mom was
Mm.
working to take care of everybody. No, I need fan. It's hot out here. That revenue, and my mom was a student and working to take care of the remaining of us. So there was no opportunity to just be a loafer, right? So even when I was resigning, leaving that my island life and moving back to Ikoto, it was consciously made. I didn't make it with hope that somebody was going to come and save me. I knew clearly that God has already died on the cross and he has done his own part. Now, it was for me to save myself. So, what were my needs? And what were my skills? And what did I have to save myself with? I had board. That means my parents are going to house me for at least a short time.
Okay.
So I didn't even look at it as I was going to go home and be comfortable, like, oh, you're just here and everything's fine. No, 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 no. I thought that, okay, you have board. Yeah, somebody is giving you boarding house, be gentle and be careful. Then
Mm.
I already bought, I already had I had two sewing machines. One I bought and one I was gifted while I was working. One that I received a present for my 18th birthday. And the other one I bought. And because I had been living this island girl life, I told you I was servicing an apartment in Oniru. So even if the company
Yes.
had given it to us, I had to pay for my NEPA bill, I had to pay my generator, diesel, and all of that. And then I loved the
Mm.
life. I went to movies every week. I was an MI groupie with my bestie. So everywhere MI had a concert, we were there. So I never really had savings. When I supported my brothers in school, the ones that were still in school, I didn't really have savings. So when I quit my job, I had just 40,000 naira in my account. So I moved back
Wow.
home with 40,000 naira in my account, two sewing machines, and a Ghana must go full of pieces that I had been saving as the years went by, right from Yabatech. And so it was those things. So I had skill. I could make clothes. I could cut. I could sew. I could pattern. And I got a computer, a desktop computer from my boyfriend at the time as a gift, start my company. So it was an old computer I had. He just gave it to me. I put it there on my table. I used my 20K out of my 10K, out of my 40K to build furniture. So I made a table and I made a stool for me to work with and set up my office. So I would spend my early mornings or late at night researching online, just looking at all the fashion brands and dreaming, wishing, and writing stuff down. What do I need to do? What are the steps I need to take? What do I need to be doing? How do I need to plan this progression? So it was all about making money from the get-go. I didn't hope to be a multimillionaire immediately, but I hoped to sustain myself. I hope to keep contributing to the family. Jobs. But paid outfit was 20,000 naira to make a wedding dress. I didn't make 1 naira out of it. It was my friend. She was getting married and she didn't have money. I told her I'll make the dress so that I could document it as well. So I took a 20K,
Mm.
bought fabrics, made the outfit, took pictures, went for her wedding, took pictures, made her pose. So I had stuff to put on my social media, right? I started taking small jobs. And then I was making little money here and there, making one or two pieces for people. Then my former boss, the first job I did out of school, she called me randomly just before Easter that year. And she said, oh, what are you doing these days? I'm like, oh, I just recently quit my job because she knew I went to work at Tiffany Amber. I just recently quit my job. I started my own business. Oh, fantastic. Do you have pieces, preparedness, miss opportunity? I said, yes. She said, okay, do you have them printed out? I said, do you have pictures of them? I said, yes. So bring the pictures and then bring the pieces so that we have the boutique where you used to, because I headed the creative team there making clothes. Said, oh, we no longer do clothes. We've focused on our interior arm of the business, but the store is still there and that space is still there. So you could bring your clothes and we could sell, but I will need to inspect them, see them. So I took those clothes to her office. She wasn't even in the office at the time. So the manager took the clothes, inspected, looked at my lookbook, the aesthetics fit the store, everything. And then I was given that space to sell my things for free. That was amazing. So I just took my clothes. She
Oh.
inspected my clothes, inspected the lookbook, and offered me the space. And so that became my first office space officially on my business card. 27. Can't remember the name of the street now. Forgotten the name. It's in GRA Ikeja. Yeah. So that was my first. I started making money from that, and then LPM monthly. After the first, it was a huge success. I mean, stylists took my number. I sold pieces. Got some people who started ordering stuff from me. So every month I looked for selling about 10 pieces every month. That is then with my thing. Okay, work with style, producing cartoons, and look at my clothes. So I was champion the whole thing like there. And when I was living in Nero, they had a shop selling things she imported from Turkey. I also selling in the shop. I approached her. So I had like so money started rolling in. But it had other pictures, what I have, and up and up, like I said. But it wasn't something that happened by chance. I prepared for. I told you I was a business plan. So I wanted to end, but I would come in, right? I gave the money that I would do the work myself. So I had the very next realizing that I had to be going shopping to buy the right fabrics. I didn't have. I have to research. I went finishing. Like I made sure I was the one who ironed every piece, like final iron. When everyone on, I would still package it done. Bags I was using nylons at this time. Right? That.
Mr. Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, that's my network.
Can you hear me? People, yes, yes.
My friend just said the next thing. Oh goodness. Let me try something
Okay,
else.
yeah.
Let me try
We'll wait.
something else.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ejiro. Thank you so much. See,
My
best live interview so far. I know, right? I know this interview. Yes, yes, yes. We've told her that we can't hear her, so she probably will leave the live and join in again. Or maybe Miss Adrian, maybe you just go back to your office. Maybe we'll just manage it because I don't know why it started breaking. It was working well. It was working really well for the past few minutes, and then it just started to break again. Just started.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can. Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see you. You may have to leave and. Okay. Oh, I can. You can. I can see your movements now. Okay, I thought
Somebody
you may
says to
have
go
to
back
leave.
inside. Shall I go back inside?
Yeah, you know what, Miss Ed, have you gotten the fan? Because I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
No, I'm okay. Somebody says you should go back inside. If I cannot hear here, then maybe if you cannot hear me, then maybe we can go back inside. But is it better now?
We can hear you. We can see you right now. It's totally
Okay,
fine.
I'm okay.
Yes.
I'm good.
So please feel free to share the comments. Share in the comments as well. But I can see her. She's moving now. Anyways, let me continue from so the part where we were not hearing you again. You were talking about basically where you got your first office at GRA, the process after that. You were trying to fill us in on that, and then it just started. Yes.
Okay, great. So so that became my first office, and thankful for that. I was able to do interviews there. I had media, like, I became a media darling. So if I want to take interviews, I did the interviews there. You have to work the room. So even with just opening my ears to opportunity, applying to for Lagos Fashion Week, what do you call it now? Young designers competition. applying. Did I apply Show on Arise? No, I was invited to Show on Arise. Amazing, right? Within the first year, because I had a website. Within 4 months, I built a website. My boyfriend was a tech guy, and so I leveraged on that. I paid for every of the things he needed to buy, but I didn't have to pay labor.
Yeah.
So thankful for that. I had the website up and running. So like I said, I always researched what made a brand standard and acceptable, and something somebody could 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 tenor, and people will be proud to be associated with. And so that helped how I presented myself, how I presented my brand, even going for my first exhibition and continuing the presentation of the work, how neat it had to be, how I packaged it to deliver, even though I didn't have paper bags and I didn't waste money. I was very careful things I spent money on. So I made sure it was neatly presented and packaged, but I was careful to not just try to look like everyone else. I allowed myself grow organically with the brand presentation, with the brand, but the things that were absolutely inherent and important, like the label, getting stockists, because money had to come from somewhere. I did. And as I got stockists, I needed to make more pieces. I hired my first staff the second month, a tailor, to free up time for myself to do market research, to do research online about branding, presentation, and even how a collection should really look. Even though I had worked on collections, and that really helped. Work on collections, working on editing, sourcing inspiration, how to follow through to an inspiration, from inspiration to conceptualization to presentation. I already had a lot of that experience right from fashion school through working with Tiffany Amber and Out of Africa and Zizikado. And all of that helped a lot. But then even now, like you can also have that imposter syndrome and that self-doubt. So going online every day, researching and documenting things down helps me really understand and know exactly what I was doing. Uncle Ayo is here. Oh, good to see you, Uncle Ayo. So I was this competition junkie. I was always looking for the next opportunity. What was I going to do? What was I going to do? How was I going to get money? And to that really paid off, because I didn't have to spend money on things like machines. I won most of the machines in my factory today from competitions, believe it or not. I'm just reflecting and realizing, yeah. So I bought those first two, but every other one that came after those two, I got in competitions until maybe like 5-7 years after, when I added a few more. So things like that helped. Knowing where to find help, knowing where to source help, and being willing to just do the work. Instead of, expecting hand-me-downs. Now, if my boss had called me and I said, man, I started my business, so I'll need your help, just give me 500K to support my business. I'm sure I thought this is the most unserious human being ever. After teaching you and showing you how a company works, how to segment stuff, but I thought, oh yes, I have a lookbook already. I have pieces that I can show you. I have samples of what I want to sell for the next maybe 5-6 months. And then she's like, okay, great. So she approved not even the whole collection, maybe like 8 pieces. So I went on and produced those and started selling. And then if I have a new collection, I'll take to her, she'll approve. And that became my saving grace. And then I kept on looking for more. There was a neighbor at Oniru who had a shop where she sold things she imported. I approached her, one of my neighbors in my former apartment. I approached her. She checked out my clothes so that the quality matched the qualities of what she was selling, but had an Afrocentric vibe. She took on the pieces to sell. I can't remember the name of the store now. Amazing how time flies and some things just leave your memory. After that, I think after a year or so came Grey Velvet. After I had shown, even though it was a commission, I had shown at Lagos Fashion Week, I had shown at Arise. And because of this website, the USAID noticed me and invited me to represent Nigeria at the fashion show in Mauritius. Yes, so you have to be prepared. Do not expect hand-me-downs. Nobody gave me anything for free, but I showed myself approved or made sure I was ready. And the only way for me to even find out was, to be in the eye of the industry. So they're having this competition, I would apply. And to be honest with you, I never even won any competition. I always came second. Always came in second. Ridiculous, but it was great. I think it was God also helping me to not win, because winning can make you relaxed, right? Winning sometimes can make you relaxed. So the fact that I never won always made me forge on, look for the next challenge. Why? What did I do wrong? And I never, even though something I knew, most of the time I knew design wise and ability-wise and technically speaking, I was better than most of these people on those competitions. But I knew that there was something that they always did better than me. At the time, it could be presenting themselves. At the time, it could be how they spoke about their company or their brand. At the time, it could be the accent, But then I always kept on forging. Okay, this I'm lacking here. That's fine. I'll learn. I'll grow. I would add this to my repertoire, and it kept
Yeah.
adding up. It kept adding up. It kept adding up until the time where, things happened by itself. USAID invited me by itself. I did not have to apply. I was invited to go show as part of the Nigeria delegation to Olympics. I didn't have to apply. Yeah, so all the shows I've done around the world, I've never paid.
Wow.
Ever. I have never
Wow.
paid for anything, for any magazine feature, never. So I focused on the work and on my journey and identified things that I was not great at and constantly worked on it. I'm talking now like an orator, talking. I had to learn that. I had to learn that. I told you I was shy. I had spent years boning to ward off unnecessary male attention. So learning to be in public network, that was hard for me. But I did it and then my parents, I grew up with this family always saying, oh, I can't sell biro. My parents were both paramilitary. It was salary. And I said I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't have anybody that was like a mentor or somebody in my network or just in my family that represented the woman I wanted to become. Not in wealth, but just in even daily living. And I think that's what
Yeah.
endeared me to the women I worked with, like Zizi Kado and Tiffany Amber and that's Mrs. Coca and all the other people I worked with. So those things prepared me and helped me see, oh, you need to improve here, you need to dress better. So even in things like, okay, being boyish, I had to learn to start being girly because I designed girly, and so you want to represent your brand the right way. Yeah, and prioritizing, spending money wisely. I started putting ads in magazines when I did not have money to buy new shoes. So instead of buying new shoes, I'll put an ad in magazines. Yes. I remember paying for ads in Mania magazine, and that was the biggest and the best fashion magazine in Africa or out of Africa, like by Africans in Nigeria at least. And then I would pay to have an ad. So you're having your ad side by side people that you had worked with. That shows you're a serious business person. That shows you approved. And then I constantly went for learning opportunities, and not just from fashion circle. I constantly went for everything I could learn about entrepreneurship so I did enterprise EDC, different entrepreneurship courses, and to learn from people in business and to network with people in business, because these people in business are going to be my customers. People in business would just thinking about how to run a business, because I told you fashion for me was not just about making fine clothes. It was not about it was not about making fine clothes. It was about making money, because I had to sustain myself and provide for myself and grow something. And people that had attached themselves to me as staff, I saw it as my responsibility to keep that dream alive and not disappoint them, and know that as they earned whatever amount they earned from me, it was going into their families to bless their families, to improve their family lives. So it wasn't just about myself. So I had to be very careful, and I had to make conscious, important decisions. Yeah. And so those things helped. Making the right friends, knowing your limits, knowing what to do, what to not do. Yeah. Those things helped.
Thank you so much, Miss Ejiro. Thank you for those who have joined in. You can send in your questions using the question icons. We already have 11 questions. I'll start taking them shortly. I just want to remind you that you can drop in your questions. Miss Ejiro, let's talk about your designs. They are very unique, and I'm sure that you know that. But they are very unique. I say that again because you just know that, okay, this is an EAT design. This is a brand. You do actually, okay, I was just for inspiration for this interview, I was still going through the page this morning. Just a lot of exceptional designs, the way you think. Please take us through your process of how you think before you birth your designs. There's one particular jumpsuit I saw. I was just like, I've not even seen this in all these oibo in quotes in fashion spaces abroad. But like the creation of that jumpsuit, and of course that I really liked, and amongst others, was really good. I would like you to please take us through how you think to be able to continue to build this business. And it's not one hit wonder. It's not like, oh, today you did it in 2018, you are not doing it again. You continue to do it. Please, I'd like you to take us through your thought process.
First things first is to take yourself seriously enough and know that the work that you do is for a purpose, and you've been given that gift to be a blessing to the world for a reason. So now, without the why and the how, you would not know, you will not be able to stay focused. So I do not see this work as something to make myself feel important or make myself happy. I see it as something I do as my way to bless the world. It's a gift that God has given, and it's to the extent to which I till it or cultivate it. That's to the extent with which it will give. And I'm particular about my heritage. I'm particular about where I'm from. I believe that Africa, I don't know if it's called a sleeping giant too, but I know that we are not where we need to be, and it's taking us so long. And we constantly look to the West for approval, for validation, and those things bother me. So when I'm designing, I am consciously, constantly trying to push the Nigerian story. And not necessarily the way the West wants to consume it, because I believe that we are enough. We can make clothes for us, by us, clothes by us for us. When you are satisfied with your thing, then you can sell it to the rest of the world. I'm not particular about go selling abroad first. I'm particular about selling here first. Satisfying my audience, people that have been there, where I learned from, what I can see, what I can touch, and that I believe will be evident in the kind of clothes I make. And I believe that women are royal, all women, all shapes, all sizes. We don't have to look a certain way before you feel good about yourself. I think clothing is a lot about how you feel, and it helps you feel a certain type of way when you go out or when you present yourself or take a picture or whatever. So I'm constantly trying to go into the minds of the customers, into the minds of the people that are going to wear the clothes, into the minds of the audience. So it's not really about me. Just what I try to make about me. Okay, I'm trying to preserve my culture, or to sell my culture or my experience to you, to the rest of the world. Now, what do women need? What do powerful women need? How do powerful women want to be seen? What is going to break the stereotype? What is going to last? Because I told you I want things that are in your wardrobe for a long time. They'll be fresh, and they'll be there, always relevant. Whenever you want to wear them, you can style it to the style or the fad of the season. But in its fabrication, at its center, is the timelessness of the piece. And the design. So those are the things I think about, and I think that helps. And constantly trying to, okay, you're the drape queen. So if you do a collection, you have to have drape things in there. Okay. What is going to tell your story? So what story? What's the narrative for this time? What are you trying to preserve? What are you trying to say? All those things, and centering your what will I call it now? Inspiration, and then drawing from that, and keeping the customer at the center. That has been what has helped me and what has sustained me up to now.
Okay, thank you so much. What would be my own question for you if I start taking questions from the audience is, you're a lot of celebrity wear your outfits today, and one of the reasons why we started the story behind her scene or his scene is because many people see these things and they just think, oh, let me open a brand that will start styling this celebrity and that celebrity. How did you get to that part? Although you've answered the question in part, in the sense that you already shared that you wanted to clothe powerful women in leadership and all that, but how did you start styling celebrities on a constant level? Like, in fact, I think that's your target audience. Well, okay, maybe you will not write it, but literally, I think people feel like, if I'm not a celebrity, I can't wear her clothes. It may be a thinking.
No,
but
it's
how
to
do
make
you
it. It's actually to make you know that wherever you are, however you come, once you've earned it, you're a celebrity. Your job may be being a doctor, and you are good at what you do. You've earned it. You've grown in your career. You're an Ejiro Amos-Tafiri woman. Why did I start using celebrities? It was for marketing purposes, really, because they're always in the eye of the media. So they go out, attend functions, people will see them. And way back when, it was only like, I think, Maya Tafo that also used to dress celebrities way back when I started. So for me, it was a marketing hack. I didn't have money to pay to be in the magazines all the time. I didn't have money to set up a store, individual store. I didn't even have what it took, the machinery, the money, the access to market. And I wanted to reach women that were upwardly mobile, women that were stepping into their own, women that were becoming more women that were earning and becoming more confident and needed to be seen as such, dress right, present their culture, have presentations to do, want to travel with a bit of their culture, but want to be cosmopolitan, that you don't feel like you're wearing a costume, but you know that when you get asked the question, like, yeah, it's part of my culture. This is what we tie on our hair at our weddings. Have you seen that? Oh, yeah, this is how we dress, blah, 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 blah. But, it's a cosmopolitan dress where we can see the inspiration. It was celebrities, so to speak, that would help carry that message because they were the ones that the cameras were on all the time. And that's why I started dressing them. It was a conscious decision in the beginning, and now they've become customers. So it's not just they're your target audience. Now they are customers. They genuinely order stuff to wear because they are these women. They are women in their careers doing great things.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Could you speak to us about how you have, at least to the best, at the last time I checked, about 2 stores now? How did your stores, the stores that you now have, your Ikeja and Ikoyi branch, how did that become? How did you birth that?
It was part of the business plan, girl. It was always the plan from the beginning. And I think I won't let that plan rest because things have changed in the world with the advent of Instagram and social media marketing and just pushing a lot of it online. But at the time when I started doing fashion, when I wanted to get in the industry, most people bought via fashion shops. And if I had my own store, I could control the experience. I could control I could give my customers an experience. So I told you I research, and I'm constantly looking at brands I want to be like. So all the brands I want to be like around the world, they have their own stores. And the store is set up and designed to give their customers a certain feel, give them an opportunity to view the full range. So even if you have different stockists, you still need your center. You need centers where women can go to experience, or your customers can go to have an experience of your brand. Right? And so that's what these stores are. They're customer experience centers where you can buy stuff, where you can really interact with the people making the clothes, interact with the center of the brand, and all of that. And it was in my business plan. So I think I opened a Ikoyi store in 2015. So that was 4 years into the brand, into starting the company. At this time, I had over 11 stockists. I was there stocking with brands abroad, but I wanted to own my own experience store. And that just makes people take you seriously. That all the money you're spending in your brand, you're not just throwing it away. You're not just taking care of yourself. They want to see people following you, people wishing you well, people buying your clothes, want to see your brand growing. And that's part of what we did. And then, of course, as we grew, we needed more space. So the Ikeja office is not just a store, it's like our HQ right now, where everything happens. We have a studio there, design studio, the workshop where we make the clothes. We have our admin section there. We have our school, and we have the shop, which is where customers can come into and have the experience. So it's just planning, visualizing, conceptualizing, and then carrying it out. That's how it came to pass. So right from when I knew I was going to have a fashion brand, I always knew I was going to have fashion, my own experience stores. And the dream is to take these stores across Africa first and then the rest of the world. So help me God.
Thank you, Miss Ejiro. How this Ejiro Amos-Tafiri brand at the 2022 when we're sorry, I didn't get Yes,
12
okay.
years old. I have a 12-year-old child. 12-year-old. Ooh.
Okay, so let's start
12-year-old.
taking questions for you now, and then we start to wrap up. This has been really good. All right. Somebody is asking Miss Ejiro, do you take interns? Do not forget that you can ask Miss Ejiro questions on this live using the question icon. So I'll ask one after the other. Do you take interns?
Yes, we do, but through a
Okay.
process. Um, I've had good and bad experiences with interns. And one of my interns, one of my very good, in fact, one of my best interns ever is actually on this live. Um, no, like two of them actually. So some interns have become family members. Some have become like staff. Eventually, now work with the brand, and they're like partners in progress. Some have gone on to do other things, but they are, Ejiro Amos-Tafiri is still home for them. But then we've had really bad experiences with interns who just want to come in and, they already have a preconceptualized idea of what the brand should be or what should be happening in the office. And they don't get that, or they don't want to work. They just want to come, have access to your network, to your sourcing network, everything that you have, so that they can go set up their own, which is mostly what I find people these days. So my answer is not straight. We put you through a couple of hoops. You meet a social prefect, a class prefect, one of the ex-interns who will ask you questions, interview you, maybe even give an opportunity to intern for like a week. And then if you don't seem like an Ejiro Amos-Tafiri prototype or person, we don't take you. So it's not like everybody that asks gets the opportunity to intern. You have to earn it. You have to see the value in it. You have to know what it will do for you and what you need that for in the trajectory of the career that you want. And then if our goals align, then you become an Ejiro Amos-Tafiri intern.
Okay. Is there a way, maybe a website, or the person should send a DM to find out if this person fits?
Or we can send in, DMs, but we typically still refer the DMs back to the email so that the right department can deal with it. So we require you to send in an email with your, back in the day, you didn't even have to tell anybody this. You want to apply for something and you're in the arts. Fashion is the arts. You send your portfolio. You send the cover letter. Now you
Yeah,
want to be
true.
told everything. So I don't even have the energy. Hi, BSM. I don't even have the energy to be teaching you the basic things that you should know. That just already shows that you're
Agree.
not prepared. If you're in the
Yeah.
arts, you know the basic things of the art. You should walk around your portfolio. You just have it easy now. You have everything. You don't have to bring a paper, physical paper. You can scan, you can create a document, you can create something online. So don't be lazy. Do the needful
Yeah.
and stop expecting hand-me-downs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much for that. All right, the next question. How do you deal with the fear of rejection when you try to be creative with your pieces?
Well, it's not about you. So if you work with the customer in mind, the opportunity for rejection will be minimal. But if sometimes you get carried away as a creative and you work from a place of heart or what you hope for in the future or what you see that it should be, and you create something, it might not be accepted, and you have to have room for that. Even if that's normal with every business. So if you realize that that's how the world works and it's not about you, you won't take it personal. But if you expect things to always go your way, if you're not prepared for failure, then you're living an unrealistic life. Then you're always going to get heartbroken. And then you have to work back from there. Not that you won't get disappointed, but you should expect that this thing is either 50-50 or 70-30. There's anxiety when creating a collection. There's anxiety when about to present it. Will they like it? Will people understand what I'm saying? Will people like it? Even if they like it, will they buy it? So there's a difference between like, there's a difference between shoppability. It might be something people like and clap for, but they're never going to pay you money for it. There's something that people like and pay you money for. There's something that you might not get the applause, but you get money for. So you have to be particular about what you want. You have to be particular about what you want and be okay with rejection. The rejection is part of life. No, it's a constant part of life. I told you I came second at every competition and I still kept going back, even though I felt deep down that creative-wise, I was better than most of those people. It's not about you. There's something about me that wasn't good enough. That's why I did not win. Even if it was my networking skills. Even it was my sucking up skills, whatever it could have been. There are things I had to learn. And those things are necessary for success in life. It's not only about your craft. It's not only about your network. It's everything together. All things working well together for your good. And no, failure is just a way to say, don't do this thing in this particular order next time or for this season. You might take that same step and apply it in a different scenario and it works. A collection might not work in Lagos. No, like typical example, I run 2 stores, one in Ikeja, one in Ikoyi. Do you want to know that right from time immemorial, it's just getting to be a bit balanced now? And then when I sell in Grey Velvet, what sells in the Ikeja store is completely different from what sells on the Island store.
Wow.
It's completely different from what sells in Port Harcourt. So it's about being open to learning, to getting feedback, to using that data to process your next work. That's why you collect data. You can't just assume, expect people to just do what you felt. I think that is selfish and that is narcissist. Allow people be, and find a way to work with other people will help you be more successful and more endearing to people in general.
Thank you so much. Very brilliant answer. Straight to the point. All right, next question. Why have you decided to keep production as opposed to manufacturers outside the country?
Aha. I have tried manufacturing outside the country. Yes, I have done it before. And I fell flat on my face. And I may still do it again. But the core of my business is to grow. The reason why I started this business is to see the influence of my company in the lives of the people that we work with. See it improve the quality of craftsmanship that we have in the industry, improve our technical skills. I was privileged enough to go to fashion school to learn technical things and to work on teams where we had foreigners to learn technically from them. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. So I believe that working and running a workshop in Nigeria by Nigerians for Nigerians and striving for excellence and quality is the only way we continue to grow this industry and have that circle that gives back. Unfortunately, Nigerian workforce, especially in the fashion industry, make it very difficult for entrepreneurs to thrive. They don't want to learn, and then it's a very large influx. I said it with a bit of I won't say apology, but please don't take it personal when I say this. A lot of fashion entrepreneurs are not schooled about their craft, and they don't want to learn, and so they give credence to mediocrity. I think it's a big Nigerian problem, and that affects the quality of work that we do. And if we keep having to go abroad to get that desired quality, because everyone must grow, everyone, if you want to work at the highest level, you have to come show yourself approved. A company wanted to sell at Saks Fifth, for example, you have to have a certain standard, quality, thread count, all of that. They're going to check. They're not going to care about who is your staff. So yes, some people really want to go work abroad and just have that peace of mind. But it would be nice for us as fashion designers, fashion enthusiasts, fashion what will I call us now, professionals, to take our work seriously, to try to become better, to learn from foreigners and become better. I mean, the art of making suits is English traditional dress. So it's like traditional British wear. But the rest of the world has learned. And everybody even goes to places like China, Vietnam to go work with their production companies to produce whatever they want for whatever company. But in Africa, in Nigeria, we have the numbers of the people, we have the audience, we have the workforce in terms of numbers. But now, are we ready to learn and make sure this thing, we do it and we do it well, so that we can even export the finesse of our production to the rest of the world? I don't know. That is lacking. So in terms of me preferring to work abroad, I prefer to do the work here, but it's tasking. It's tasking. It's tasking. It's tasking. So I don't blame people that go abroad to go do their work. I've tried it before. The only problem I had was the numbers were too much. The designs were not for the time. I made this very bold collection. I had this branch out brand that at the time was called DEET, and it did so well online. But in actually selling of some pieces were harder to sell. Some took a long time for us to sell. And I went to China with this ambition of setting that brand, and I made large pieces. First of all, Nigeria, we had law issues. We stopped having having issues with foreign currency. So for over a year, my consignment was stuck abroad. So by the next cycle, after I released the collection, maybe 2 years before, it became like redundant. So I couldn't really sell it again. So that became that was a huge loss. So yes, you have to be calculating. You have to be calculative with your decisions and research. Like I said, don't just assume stuff. Don't assume stuff. Don't just throw money at problems. Be sure that the money you are throwing at a problem is going to solve it. And you have that idea or information based on data you've collected and analyzed, and it applies to your situation. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Ejiro, for this literal mentoring session. All right. Another person is asking, say, kindly share your experiences on infringement of IP, knockoffs, and counterfeiting.
Whew. You're asking me a very, very touchy subject. Unfortunately, like I said, mediocrity thrives.
Yeah,
Mediocrity
please let's
thrives
say
in a
thank you.
society where people are not particular about documenting their history. In a society where people are not particular about preserving what is good about themselves, or even aspiring to the highest of the heights of what is possible about themselves. Do you know what makes Tokyo, Japan special? That they have become technology capital of the world. If they did not hold themselves to a certain standard of value, the way everybody tries to beat the next person, they won't be where they are. India has produced some of the most outstanding engineers in the world, and in their schools, people pass the next person. When you watch their films, like the next person by 0.001, that's how you get to become first position. And if you miss by 0.0001, you can be dropped from a job. Do you see how stiff that competition is? So everybody's aspiring for a certain level of excellence. That is what is lacking in our society. People just come into this industry for different diverse reasons. Now, if you're producing as a high street designer, I'm not sure that there will be much of an issue with infringement and all that. But when people go in and do research and try to create stuff, and then you produce and you position yourself and say you're a designer and you present it, and the media, the gatekeepers of our society, do nothing to set the record straight, then we are having what? A proliferation of whatever people like, whatever people say. So when this person that just becomes a journalist today and has a platform says this, then that becomes our truth. No. If we had been documenting properly, so it's very difficult for you to go and talk about American fashion history and talk about it wrong because they document. British fashion history and talk about it wrong because they document. Somebody cannot come from somewhere and say, I created denim. But in Nigeria, you'll be surprised. People will come today and say, I had the first Ashoke collection. People will come and say, I'm the first beaded collection. People would steal a literary design from another designer and say, the other Tego didn't design that, I designed it. And that's because we have no gatekeepers and we not even value ourselves enough. And then, unfortunately for us, there are laws, but the amount of money needed to prosecute and even safeguard intellectual property is so high. So you're going to, how do you know the piece that is going to become your sellout, that is going to become your bestseller? Are you going to do a collection of 25 and protect all of them? How do you even know that you are not about to infringe on somebody else's right? It's just a very complex, cumbersome situation. And it's happening all around the world as well now, especially with social media and a lot of people being able to do stuff. So I think it's on. The only way to protect that, first of all, like you say, your clothes are intricate, blah, blah, is to really go deep and have a brand, would I call it outlook? That's the wrong word. Ethos, brand ethos. What is your brand about? What does it look like? What are you known for? And if you do that and refine it and keep honing that and refining it, then we keep getting better. But you cannot strive for excellence, or you cannot want to be called the best or win awards or be a forerunner in your industry and all you do is copy. No. But then there's a place for the high street designs where you can water down other designs, but not just take literally. And sometimes you also need to pay give nods to the creators. I think that's how it works. So it's for us to, I think research will definitely save us in this industry, and holding ourselves accountable, and for the fashion journalists and those in the media to please report the news, right? Save us from ourselves if that's possible. Document our history for the future generation so that people know that they're coming from something. We've had that in the past. Now that I said I researched us from newspapers whilst I was a science student, whilst I was a fashion student. Now we don't even have the right news being reported. So even if you want to go and research it through the history of Brother Nigeria or just type stuff online, it's whatever anybody decides to put online. So who is the gatekeeper? Who, like the voice of, like, let's say we have Vogue, internationally acclaimed. If Vogue talks, everybody listens. Who is that for Nigeria? Who is that for Africa? That is from us, by us, not the West, because now we still rely on Vogue to validate us.
Yeah, true.
So even if Vogue validates us on an international level, how do we validate ourselves as ourselves? And how do we create a platform that becomes the international standard? Thank God for Oprah, who has done the whole network, and some other people pushing the Black community agenda. But we as Africans, who are we? What are we doing? And how are we selling our story? It's something we need to look into. It's something we need to strive for as Nigerians. We don't get to be excellent if we continue this mediocrity with the quality of work that we do, with the level of our technicality. For the best fashion brands in Nigeria, very few have all Nigerian staff. Most of them have foreign staff to be able to produce that quality of work and deliver at that level. And that is a shame.
Yeah.
And that is a shame.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ejiro. I have other questions to ask you. I want to let you know, for everybody listening, that this interview will be available on YouTube. So it's going to be available to a wider audience on Sage NEL TV on YouTube. So in case you want to watch the replay, which you would have to, because there's a lot that Mr. Ejiro has said that we just need to repeat, or we need that to sink it in again. The next question is, Ms. Ejiro talked about keeping the customer at the center. Can she shed more light on that?
So when starting up your fashion brand, there are certain things, or a business, whatever it is you're doing, it has to be for who, where, and why. And that, if you answer all those questions, it points to your customer. Who is your customer? Who do you want to serve? You cannot be all things to all people. What is the product, or what is the service that you want to give? And if you can identify that to the tiniest T, then you'll be able to do your work and do it well. I'm not saying that you'll be perfect at the first try. I'm saying you will know the center of what you want to do, and you'll continue to strive to do your best by your customers, to do your best by your offering. What am I saying? What problem do I want to solve? What is my promise to my audience? You'll be able to do that and do it well. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by keeping this customer at the center.
Okay. All right. So the next question is, you talked about that, Mr. You talked about, okay, we've done that. Okay, I'm not sure. You need to ask that question again, the follow-up question. So let's move to the next. Also, would you say you are still into occasion wear? Do you feel like it's a bit more RTW now? RTW.
Ready to wear. Ready to wear and couture are two different things. See what I mean? We need to study. Ready to wear and bespoke or couture are completely different fashion terms, and they do not refer to the kind of clothes that you make. They refer to the availability or the process to which the dress will be made available to the client. So when it's couture, it means there is intricacy in design, intricacy in process, taking hundreds of hours possibly to produce a garment. So the design, the fabrication is very intricate, and that now qualifies an outfit or design to be termed as couture. One. Two, bespoke is when something is made especially for you. We have a bespoke culture in Africa where we go to our tailors. They're not even called tailors. Tailors are people that make menswear. Tailors make suits, shirts, trousers, and coats. Those are tailors. Tailors make tailored garments. Garments that you have to take time to steam and show straight lines. Those are tailored garments. Then we have dressmakers who make most of the rest of things that we wear. Dresses, tops, skirts, those are dressmakers. Now, we have a bespoke culture in Nigeria where you go to somebody, they take your measurements and they make it to fit you. They tailor the outfit to you. They make it bespoke for you. That's your Ashwebi culture that we have in Nigeria. Now, ready to wear simply means that you can go into a store and pick up a dress, pay for it, and go home. Or you order it from a site, pay for it, and it's delivered to you immediately. It is ready to wear. If I've been able to explain that clearly. So now, occasion wear can be ready to wear, and that's what I've always done. Right? So that's why I set up my stores, so that people don't have to wait, or you don't have to find me. You have an event, you walk to Ejiro Amos-Tafiri store, you find something to go to that wedding. You don't have to go line up at your tailors. You find something to go speak at that event. You find something to go receive that award abroad. You find something to wear for your child's baby dedication. It's readily there for you to pick up and wear to your event. So that's ready to wear. It doesn't matter what you're making, if it is casual wear, lounge wear, corporate, that means something you wear to work. Whatever it is, it could be anything at all that you wear and that you can now make ready to people to just go shop. So when you say Calvin Klein, Roberto Cavalli, all those fashion brands have the ready-to-wear pieces. So when you go to their shops to shop, you are buying their ready-to-wear. Hope that is clear.
Thank you so much. All right, the next question, we're finishing up the questions here. Let's see so I don't miss anyone. How do you deal with tailors not being late? I think Isidora has clarified that. Well, workers, let's just say workers, because there are tailors, fashion designers, dressmakers. Yeah, let's just.
It's endemic in the fashion industry, so I can relate to that question. It's endemic. You just keep going day by day. I believe maybe you will be able to find the answer for all of us. When I started out, I found easier ways to deal with that. Get tailored accommodation, that kind of helps. So very early on in my work, I got, because I knew that I was the model that worked for the offices, not all offices. The second office I worked, not the first. They didn't have accommodation. Everybody got to work well. I think it also says it depends on structure, but then that business was about 27 years old at the time. So the structure matters, the history matters, how the office is structured to function, So if you came late, your salary was deducted. Everyone had the salary, there was supervisor. So in a factory setting or a proper production setting, that would hardly happen. But when you're running a smaller unit, you may need to treat them more like family, not like family, but find a way to make your small unit work for you. So is it getting them accommodation so you don't have to go home, face traffic, the troubles of this world? Is it working in the remote parts of the country so that everybody can focus on their work? You just need to find what works for you. Really, there's no one straight direct answer. It might be your personality, it might be the laws you put in place, it might be your approach. No one straight answer.
Okay. So let's take, I think this one you've answered it about internship, but maybe do you have a special, I'll just paraphrase the question. Mr. Do you have any special system for mentorship? If people want to get mentorship, or they have to come in through the internship role? That's what the person is asking.
Internship, no, it only applies to people who need the internship. Some people are beyond, they've gone far in their career in the way that they cannot come to do that standard internship and come work in your office and all of that. But mentorship is available through application, follow-up, intent. Mentorship simply means asking questions, having somebody hold your hand, right? And direct you and guide you and help you where you need to be helped. Yeah, so it's you applying. It's you seeking me out or seeking the person out. I don't think, except you want a paid mentorship, which is something I don't do. I never paid anybody to learn from them. So I'm committed to giving back and not having people pay for my internships or pay for mentorship or whatever that be the case. But you have to just show yourself approved, show that you really need it, and ask the right questions and be doing it for the right purposes, and then I'm sure we'll be fine.
Okay, so is there a how? Does person send a DM or email? Or I think you said that earlier.
I think emails are better. DMs can get lost. You can start with the DM. Somebody will definitely respond and say send an email. So if you want to save yourself the stress, send an email. Be conscious enough to do follow up. I do not owe you or you had one looking for something. So the way you go about it, the detail of what you do. If it's somebody that the person, this is the person that of like minds. Of course, the attention will be faster, but like I said, you don't expect to be handheld for everything. You don't expect to be handheld. If you send your portfolio, even if you are looking for mentorship, show me what you have done. Show me what you have achieved. Show me, so I know that I'm dealing with a serious person. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes total
Yes.
sense. Okay. And I think the last question I would take before I wrap up with my own question is we've answered that. What challenges is Miss Ejiro facing in the fashion industry? And I think I would just sync it with my own question, which is challenges you have faced so far in the fashion industry. She just started that. If you could please share with us.
Challenges so far. Okay. I am one person that doesn't catalog my challenges because they're a natural part of life. So going through life and just writing down, challenge 1, challenge 2, is like you're not even prepared to live. Life in itself is a challenge. A baby getting to walk would have had to crawl. And in some people's eyes, crawling was a challenge. It was a process, right? So we have so many things to contend with or deal with as Nigerian entrepreneurs or as Nigerian fashion professionals or whatever that are stacked up against us. The laws, starting out, when I started, it was different from now. Then you're not even valued. Like, even if when you go to the bank, they don't take you seriously. Fashion, you're not even seen as a part of the business community. So those were things that we had to deal with. And I'm sure people don't deal with that as much anymore. We're not seen as serious people. We're not seen as people to even relate with on that time. We're seen as people to add, like performing monkeys. Just add them there, Yes. You're laughing, but it's the truth. Like, we're not taking that seriously until, people start showing themselves. You're the one to create what you want. Like, Kathy created a serious dance empire. People can take dance seriously, right? So we had that. The creative arts, the creative industry has had that. Fashion took a big knocking because a lot of people in the fashion industry came into the fashion industry for wrong reasons. Now, there's no way you are a dancer that you cannot dance. There's no way that you are an artist that you cannot draw. Or if you cannot draw, you got to go and learn. You can't be pushing yourself that I'm a good artist, that I'm a good painter. When people are not buying your work, it's clearly seen that you don't have technique, you don't have a unique point of view. Does that make sense? But in fashion, without depth, people are pushing themselves. Everybody just, instead of trying to find depth or grow depth or aspire for depth, they're pushing themselves because there's media. So we are media junkies and, just popularity seekers. And that affected a lot of us. So first of all, the laws did not favor us. On somebody like Obasanjo came and banned importation of luxury goods. Then Nigeria started buying, and then good luck continued with the buy Nigeria, wear Nigeria. Thankful. Some things about the government is not done right, but something they've tried. Right? But we also need to come prepared and come ready so that the government sees us as that, like what music industry has done for themselves and what the movie industry have done. They went out and pursued this thing and showed themselves approach. Now the government is chasing them with monies, with grants from BOI and blah blah blah. Even when we have it as fashion, we don't have the basics of things that makes, and then sometimes there's just too much mediocrity and too much man no man that's because the media is not even reporting right. But if the media, is pushing the right things, as there's no way that you can deny that maybe Whiskey and Davido and Burna Boy are like the best, like top of the music game right now, and then like the veterans are like people like Two-Face, who is always coming out with something that is of fantastic standard every year. Now, if the reporters or themselves did not even create that standard in that industry, they won't enjoy it now. So now you're looking for the fashion people, the people highest grossing. It's very difficult for somebody in the industry to know. You're looking for the best in this. Very difficult for people. Everybody is pushing themselves. Everybody is the best. Everybody is equal. Everybody is. So what are we doing? So we're not taking. That's my biggest problem. and challenge. We don't take ourselves seriously enough to even band together to forge the required growth. We are growing wide, but we're not growing deep. There's a lot of us. Everybody is their own government. But to really get that real change and standard and professionalism in this place, if not, we'll keep struggling with bad tailors, exchanging tailors within ourselves, and these tailors will keep getting rich on our head and getting more badly behaved. So we call them tailors because that's Nigerian language, but most of them are seamstresses and seamsters. Well, they keep getting rich on our head and we keep rigmaroling and we keep staying there and keep struggling until we take ourselves seriously. Even with the quality of so-called fashion education, fashion school, fashion, everything, every detail about this industry needs to be better. And it starts with our minds. Nobody's going to come and do it for us. It starts with our minds. It starts with us saying, no, we can do better. We can do better. Not just because you have a phone, you can take pictures, you can create something online, then that becomes the truth. If not, people will not be doing Project Runway. People will not be trying to get into New York Fashion Week. Let's be real. If not, time and tides will leave us behind. Anyway, time and tides will still leave us behind eventually. time always tells. But it will be better. It will be good if we could grow all together and enjoy this industry and not be too cottage in our thinking. We can start small, but we should think big. So
Okay.
that's my own biggest challenge. Then there are always the things of, bad road networks and delivery systems and staff. Biggest problem anybody in Nigeria has with fashion industry is staffing, maintaining your staff and growing your staff. It's the same thing. We all know the answers now. So honest truth, you're not alone. If you're a fashion person, don't think it's unique to you. My dear sister, is not. Which is why I'm saying the best you can do for yourself, or my sister or my brother, is to know your craft. At least if they all drop work today, you can still continue. You're not lost. Before it
Yeah.
scatters, you have a way to solve your problem. You're not lost. And then start small. Even if you have plenty money, start small. Don't just be in a hurry to be big when you're not really big. Does that make sense?
That one is unforgettable. Don't just be in a
Yeah.
hurry to be big when you're not really big yet.
You're not really
Try
big
to.
because you need depth to really be big. So setting up a big store when you don't have experience, you don't even know what you're doing. The quality of the product is not there. You don't have an identity. You're just trying. You will struggle and you will keep spending money, neither your savings or what people. Some people can fake it till you make it, but wouldn't it be beautiful if you can start small and conserve stuff? Don't waste money. Don't waste time. Don't waste talent. Conserve stuff so that when you apply a lot, the big bang can also come from that. That's my own advice. That's what I think.
Okay, I think we have maybe three more questions and we ask a rapid fire question and we wrap up. This has been a roll. Thank you so much, Miss Ejiro. The question I want to ask, I think you've already pretty much spoken about how you continue to look for opportunities, but some of the grants you got, like the AWE, for instance, what would you say was the thing that made you, whether it's a grant or whether grants or opportunities, was there a way of positioning, a way you positioned yourself that you will share or you like to share with business owners so that they can know and learn from you? Because that AWE was a big deal among some others that is on your profile as well.
I think for me, it's nothing special. It's information. What do you want out of life? And you cannot really do life alone. So who are the people that could be your partners in growing your business, in shaping the kind of woman or man that you want to be? What kind of knowledge do you need? What kind of access do you need? What kind of network do you desire? And then you go out and seek them. So you apply for um, fellowships. You apply. That's what I do. Apply for fellowship. Put your head on the ground for opportunities of learning, of networking, and apply for the ones that speak to you or that relate to you or that have something to do with the growth pattern that you have designed for yourself. And that would totally help you. So you don't wait to become before you start to do things that would make you look like it or help you with knowledge or help you stand tall out among the pack. Like I said, nobody owes you anything in this life. You go out and you get it. So ears on the ground. I will not stop saying it. My biggest thing that I preach is research. Ask questions, belong to the right associations, think out of the box. Don't just be boxed into, oh, I make pure water, so I'm only in pure water association, pure water producer association. Sometimes you're not even there, but you want to succeed. How do you share issues like challenges? How do you navigate or the general challenge? How do you know what the government is planning? How do you have a voice at the table to say this will not benefit us, or this is what we should do? Is in being in the right associations, having your ears on the ground, listening to the news, and applying for the right stuff so that you can be in the right rooms. Simple as that.
Okay, you've definitely had a lot of victories so far. Say in the last 3 years, if you could share with us, what would you say are some of your top 3 victories that you've had with your brand, and was there any special catalyst for these results?
Would I say victories in the past 3 years? 3 years, that would be since 2000, the pandemic here, this year, and then it's just, for me, it will mostly be the opportunity for rebirth as opposed to certain things I've got. And then the beauty of coming to understand and accept the work that I have done, and people applauding that. Okay, so getting all this African Designer of the Year, and getting international accolades and associations, and opening the brand up to doing more things across the continent and even beyond in terms of actual work, beyond just showcasing. I think for me, that's been my biggest victory. So I'm not going to calculate and say, oh, I got this award and I got that and I got that. No, it's just being able to work with people from different parts of the world, collaborate on different projects, being able to see that, okay, we have come to a place that I've always hoped for, that institutionalization, and people around the world see that and they are applauding that, or they gravitate towards that, and being taken seriously as a business person in the industry, not just within the industry, but in the business landscape of Nigeria. I think those are my own personal wins, beyond, oh, we stuck here, we stuck there, and all of that.
Right. I'll take this as the last question from the listeners. This person is asking how you could get products, you're getting your product on stockists. And I'm going to combine it with the question of association. The person was asking, oh, Ma, how can we get into association? So that will have to be the final question I have to take from listeners today.
I could be dropping all the answers for you guys, but I would really like that the most important thing you take out of this interview is, I said, research. How many of you go on Google every day? How many of you have like a notification button for important stuff like fashion news? How many of you people are concerned about who is retailing the most? It's a difficult thing when you ask me who are the retailers, or how do you get to work with them? Like you said, it's very easy to slide into DMs. It's very easy to email people. So it's hard when you say I should mention names for you. I don't know your brand personally yet. I don't know where you want to go with it. I don't know your brand story. I don't know your brand ethos. I don't know your brand trajectory or projections. So I can't suggest. There are several. So I don't feel comfortable answering that question vaguely. I could answer it. Trust me. I could give you international stock case for different things. So if you want to stock abroad, Saks and Fifth, typically you have to get an agent who will then take you to trade shows around the world, and then hopefully you get picked up by these companies one way. Within Nigeria or the rest of Africa, you can typically just look for fashion boutiques that carry different brands that are similar to yours. Email them, send them your lookbook, send them your portfolio, send them your stock. It's the same I've been saying. It's the same thing. It's direct, it's simple. Apply. To get back to you. Follow up. If you send an email, send the person a DM, send the person a direct message. They will respond to you. Either they like you or they don't. And the rejection is not the end. You continue. You strive. You look for people that align. Even within Nigeria, you see these stockists, you see that stockists, you see shops. I told you that the first one was my former boss, second one was my neighbor. Yeah. So you have them all around you, but you're waiting for somebody to tell you, hold your hands. You're not going to say, this person said this is available there. No, can't you be the forerunner? Research, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Adrian. We're getting to your rapid fire question now, and then we would wrap up this interview. Like somebody will say, what a wow. It has really been educative. Thank you so much. My final question to you is, as a business, because you're a mentor in the industry, even like you're one of the lords of the fashion industry, how do you balance entrepreneurship? And you work so hard, you are innovative and excellent in your crafts for real. How do you balance entrepreneurship and this excellent work you put out with motherhood, for anybody who may want to know?
It's about knowing what your life is supposed to be for. I prioritize my role as a mother over everything. Sometimes I surprise myself because I did not think that that was going to be my lot. But what I would say is, you have to be ready and know your responsibilities. Like, my child did not ask to be born, right? She did not. She's not here by accident, and she did not ask me to bring her into this world. So it's my responsibility to do my best to be a present, good parent, attentive to her needs, and being particular that she's raised in a way that she would remember. Because I remember a lot of things from my childhood, right from when I was 2 to 3. My mom is even surprised. I remember colors of her clothes. I remember places we went. I remember people that we spoke to. So
Wow.
I do not know how my child will turn out to be, but so far she's her memory seems to even be better than mine, you know. So it's very important that I give her a fantastic experience. So she's my priority, right? She's my second baby because Ejiro Amos-Tafiri came as my first baby, but she's my most important baby, and she knows that. But she also knows that mommy has to work. Mommy's work is very important to her. So it's about balance. There's no, I can't do everything. I can't be in her school all the time, but I try. I take her to school. I take her on walks. Try to do little things that she would enjoy. I don't try to live my life according to societal dictates, so to speak. Everybody's taking the child to this school because it's this. I try to find what works for me. What do I want her to do? I want her to have experiences. So she does swimming, she does ballet, she does. I try to prioritize those things. Like, and I try to have conversations with her. Just don't assume that because she's 4 years old, she has no idea or no thought as to what she wants. So it's just that. Prioritize the things that are important to you. If watching Telemundo is important to you, prioritize it. So if raising your child and running your business is important, you prioritize it and then you balance it out. And that's what I do. It's not easy. And you also have to have help and the right support system and build a system that kind of works, because you will not always be able to do everything the way you think you're able to do it. And being a parent most of the time is you winging it. And also being a boss is also learning. So you just have to make it clear the roles and the boundaries between your family and your office and your family and everything else, and then find a balance. There's no balance anywhere. There's only like family 50%, work 50%. Sometimes work will come 80% and the family has to manage with the 20. Sometimes family will take 90 and work will have to take 10. Sometimes they get 50-50, sometimes 60-40. So there's no balance anywhere. It's about priorities, times, chances, but making the best of every moment that you have and doing the best that you can.
Thank you so much, Ms. Adrian. Now it's time for our rapid fire question. And I
Yep,
just
yep,
want to say
yep.
thank you to everybody that I stayed here. Please do not forget, we're going to put out the replay this weekend as quickly as possible on NEL TV on YouTube so that it's available to a wider audience than are not on Instagram. Please subscribe. And I see a lot of comments. Tell your friends to also watch the interview. We do these interviews so that we give people perspective and they're on the right path. And especially my generation, we're not sitting down waiting for handouts, just like Miss Ejiro has said severally on this live. So please share it as soon as it is out. It will be on YouTube, so you can search maybe on Sunday or Monday. You'll find the interview there. All right, a rapid fire question. Miss Ejiro, you have to answer it as quickly as possible.
I will
You can't
try.
take
I will try.
questions. 5 seconds rather. The first
Okay.
is, what is your favorite color?
Nude, I would say. Well, most people say purple because purple is everywhere. But when I want to dress up, I think nude. So no color. But people would beg to differ. They'll tell me it's purple. Stop it. It's purple. Your office, purple is everywhere. So purple. Yeah.
All right, your favorite food.
Salad, vegetable salad.
All right. Are you allergic? What are you allergic to? If you're allergic to anything, what are
Oh
you allergic
wow,
to?
I'm allergic to too many things. I'm allergic to corn, I'm allergic to chicken feather, I'm allergic to simple sugars. Um, I'm allergic to almost everything, but I eat them anyway and deal with the consequences later.
Rosie, I eat them anyways. Okay, that was really funny. What is your best movie?
I don't think I have any. I love movies. I love movies. That's how I distress and that's how I learn. That's how I travel. I teleport into movies and books. So I don't have any particular favorite movie, but I like romance. I like stories. I like drama. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Your best book? If you got any best book?
I don't have any best book. I love romance stories and novels. I love stories about real life. Yeah. So I don't have
Mm.
any best book. I'm not those inspirational readings. I don't deceive myself. Yeah. I listen to them. I don't read them necessarily. I prefer listening
Okay.
when I'm learning. But when I'm relaxing, I like to enjoy a good romance novel or
Okay.
a good romance movie. Yeah.
All right. You already told us that you're born and bred in Nigeria. Now we want to know, if you were not born in Nigeria, what country would you have liked to be born into?
Uh, Different countries for different reasons. So Um, um, I would say America because I would like to be a citizen of the world. Everybody respects an American, but I don't like America because I don't think it's a very nice. I don't know. I don't like how it feels and how you feel like a second class citizen. I don't like those. I like the access that being an American can give you. I would have
Mm.
loved to be born. I'm an island girl, but I wasn't born there. My village is an island, but it's not. It doesn't have sandy beaches and all those nice things because of pollution and Oregon, all those nonsense. So I'd have loved to be born on like Venezuela Island or Comoros, something like that, where it's idyllic and it's nice and you have beautiful scenery and all of that. Um, uh, then maybe like Netherlands, the country I really like. I like Netherlands. I like how it's rich in history and it has culture and you also see the future happening. I love Japan. I love China for their culture and their drive and self belief, even to their religion. And you're like, this is who we are. We're not changing for anybody. And I love that.
Yeah.
So it's different reasons for different countries. There's no country I wish to be born in. I love being Nigerian. I like that it
Mm.
makes me very bold. I like that when I step into a room, everybody knows a Nigerian is around. I like our no-send nature. I like our joyful nature. You just have a few disadvantages, and I hope in my lifetime that we become
Mm.
world leaders.
So thank you. Gold or silver?
None. I'm not particular, but I think I prefer
Okay.
gold.
Okay. Black or white?
White. But my office is
Yellow.
black on the outside and white inside. I'm a weirdo. Sorry.
Okay. Yellow or pink?
Neither.
Mr. Jerry, you
Neither.
won't pick.
Let me pick
Okay.
one for the sake of rapid question. Okay, let me explain it. Yellow, when I'm designing, I can think in yellow. I find it difficult to
Mm.
think in pink. Yeah,
Mm.
that's the answer. And then in my wardrobe, you hardly find both. You may find one or two, but it's not my thing. And I'm not. I told you I was raised a tomboy, so I grew up tomboy. Those are not necessarily my colors.
Okay. All right. We have what your favorite attire to wear?
Shorts. Shorts, sneakers, and the top. Maybe not t-shirt, because I think that's so basic and boring. So maybe a nice
Mm.
top, but you always find me in shorts. I love shorts. I love shorts. I wish I could live in shorts all day long. Yeah, shorts.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to do?
I love traveling. I love watching movies. Yeah, those are my favorite things. I love traveling. I love watching movies.
What do you like to do for fun?
Experience new things.
Okay.
That would be proper fun for me. So the easiest is to travel, and definitely when you travel, you try to experience new things. You see new people, new places. So I don't have any particular thing except the regular will be watching movies.
Mm.
But then I go swimming. I like to take long walks, work out. gist with my close friends, and hang out with my daughter. But now she's
Yeah.
growing, so she asks me too many questions. But well,
All right. What is small chops or jollof rice?
jollof rice. I like to eat healthy.
Okay. Oh my God. Is it you
Small
have
chop
been
has too much oil. So I would even choose neither. But for the sake of this question, well cooked jollof rice,
question?
yes. But
Okay.
badly cooked jollof rice and badly made small chops.
Okay. Fruits or vegetables?
Both. I can choose. I can eat a full basket of fruits. I can eat a full basket of vegetables. Both. I can choose.
Would you rather take a train or a ship? Train or ship? Which one?
Both. I love traveling by every method possible. And I'm a water girl. I'm an Ejiro girl. My village is an island. I'm not scared of the water. Yes, when I'm on it, I can be scared. "Ah, I can fall inside. But yeah, I love experiences. I love adventure. So both.
So would you say the same for this question, which is the bus or an airplane?
Airplane, Claude.
Well, you said you like traveling.
I mean, I see. Let me explain. I live in Nigeria. My experience with road travel is bad.
Okay.
And I'm still
So you
traumatized from my NYC time when I used to travel to
like,
Enugu. Like, there was one time I sat in the bus when I was going for a competition. I was coming back from Enugu to Lagos to come for a competition screening. And the bus I took, I just booked the last seat and it had no backrest. So imagine sitting down on like a stool from Enugu to Lagos. I'm still traumatized. So me and buses, we don't have a joyful friendship, but it's okay. So definitely plain, please.
all right. Writing or speaking?
Ah, speaking, I can talk people into the ground when I'm comfortable, if I'm with my people. But
Yeah.
writing, I write slower than I think. So when I write, it always has left out words. So
Okay.
I can do it, but it takes a toll because I have to reread and reread and reread. So I don't really enjoy writing. I just enjoy talking.
Okay. Rain or sunshine?
Rain, I would say. Sun, I don't function well in the sun. I cannot look into the sun. I have photo sensitivity. I
Okay.
always have to wear sunglasses. But rain is just water. So if I'm
Mm,
enjoying it, yeah. But because, like I said, in Nigeria, the roads are clogged, there's flood, so I don't like the rain. Sun is better for business, so to speak.
is it true? Please, have you been told that I have funny? That was
I've been told that I'm too blunt.
for business. Okay, moving. Even the reply discombobulated me. Okay, let me move to the next audio. Also, audio or visual for learning. Which do you prefer, audio or visual?
Visual.
Visual. Okay.
Because visual is usually audio visual.
True. Yes,
And I
true.
can still do well with pictures. Visual.
Visual. Okay.
It depends on the
A day.
situation. If I'm working, I can do audio, but visual preferably. It syncs better.
Okay. A day at the beach or a day in one of your favorite restaurants. Which would you pick?
A day at the beach with a horse. Ha ha. That's one of
Mm.
my best places to be. A day at the beach, please, with people not there, like on a weekday, empty.
All right. If you had magical wand to change just one thing in Nigeria, what would be that thing you would want? That one thing you want to see changed and why?
The way we think, because it will really catalyst to changing everything else. The way we think. Just rewire our thinking that we value ourselves and we are particular about our future. People will stop stealing, people will stop celebrating mediocrity, people will be working and creating stuff for the future, not just for their own lineage, which may never even come to pass. So that the way we think, because it will
Think,
just
okay.
be the catalyst for everything.
And then finally, what do you want to be remembered for?
Ah, I was always conscious about leaving my footprint in the sands of time. So I would want to be remembered as somebody who did her best to give it her all and be a positive light. To my child, I want to be somebody who showed, or my child or children or mentees, people that just, look up to me in a certain way. You showed a path and made them believe that anything is possible and show them that anything is possible and you can go out and do it yourself. You don't have to wait for people to do it for you. In the fashion industry, somebody who charted a new course, who created a new way and constantly did her best to further the fashion industry in Nigeria, in Africa, and continue that conversation. How I want to remember to God as somebody who took the gifts He gave me and did the best I could with it, even acknowledging my humanness, but I constantly strove to be the best I could at loving Him and serving Him with all of me.
Thank you so much, Miss Ejiro. Please, let's take 1 minute before I end the live to really say thank you to Miss Ejiro. We've been saying thank you all through the live session. Your talk is beautiful, but we really just want to let you know that we are so, so appreciative. The live, I will save it immediately on my Instagram page now, so you can catch the replay of that, and then we'll move it to YouTube as soon as possible. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Atina, our most active person on this live.
I would like to meet you.
Yes, Atina. So she asked her those questions of internship and all that. So you see, so you can just slide into Miss Ejiro's DM. It's good. Advantages of being active. Thank you, Atilia, for thank you, yes, for being a part of this. Thank you, Ifoma. Yes, thank you. And just there's Betty's comment that is pinned. A lot of people said that this is something that literally should have been paid for. So we're really grateful, Miss Ejiro. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And we'll continue to see you. I definitely interview again, Miss Ejiro, when I get my own studio and all that. We'll come and do a full tour documentary. We're coming soon.
And I must say to you, Nell, that you are doing an amazing job. I remember years ago when I noticed you in business for the first time. I mean, of course, I think I've always seen you in church, but when you said doing your business and you were so serious, and to see how you have grown and diversified what you're doing and doing it so well and so intentionally. I may not have said it to you or may not say it enough. I'm really proud of you, and I'm looking forward to all the amazing things that you will birth. But in the interim, I'm proud of you. Well done. And continue to do what you do. You inspire even me. Yes.
Thank you so much, Miss Adria. I'm so grateful. And I'm blushing. Thank you so much. And definitely see you and talk to you soon. Bye.
See you soon. Bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for making this an interactive session. Thank you for staying here. And together, we'll win. Look forward to seeing you all. Tap. Bye.